You are now listening to the Rise Podcast, hosted by Mccove.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Rise, hosted by me, Mccove. Today, got my man, Kevin Mccove. What can I say about Kev? Kev's a good friend of mine. Met back in college, started playing basketball and everything together. Found out he was a musician. What instruments do you play? I know you play some instruments.
Piano. I mean, I play a lot of stuff, but I wouldn't say I play those instruments. I play piano, though.
Got you. Plays piano. Amazing singer. I never really personally told you this, but I do like listening to some of your music.
I vibe with that. Thank you.
And I love the vibe that you have in all your songs, because it's all like a happy, poppy, like a jazz.
Yeah, definitely on that jazz tip.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's just like, it's smooth.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it's like, it's great shit to listen to, especially with a girl.
Yeah, definitely for the ladies. It's gonna feel awkward if you're just listening like with your boys.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, yeah.
But it's a great vibe for the females. Great vibe for like morning car rides and stuff like that.
It's definitely car ride music for sure.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I was listening to more of it this morning as well too, just so I could, make sure I'm in tune with this shit today.
Oh, thank you, bro.
But I was just like, damn, yo, like this shit sounds like actual, like
it's ready for the radio.
Yeah,
Good.
like
Yeah,
actual hit music. Like, you feel me? And there's not too many people that have that, that quality, that sound. I think that's one of the biggest things.
Thank you, man.
Like, because there's a lot of people that can write lyrics and shit like that, and make songs. But I feel like in order to make it, like to be able to perform with the people you perform with, you have to have that sound.
Yeah, well, I think you used to. Now I feel, I guess to be more accurate, I guess it depends on what kind of genre you're in. Because if you're in the like rap and hip hop genre, I think that the quality of the sonic quality matters a lot less. A lot of the artists kind of come from that bedroom producer, basement producer type sound, and recording on whatever you can get your hands on,
Of course.
and uploading it to SoundCloud. So I think the scrutiny for what it sounds like it's just less scrutinized than if you make country music or if you make pop music or whatever. Then it's like, oh, the sound quality kind of needs to be a certain way because it's different. It's instruments. Like there's live instruments that are going on. There's a lot more layers. A lot of hip hop music tends to just kind of be like loops. There's like a little 4-bar loop.
Yeah.
And then
plays over
and just plays over and over and over. It's like the same thing almost, which is cool. Like that's cool for that genre of music, but in other genres, it can be a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to be in like a rock band
And
or
play
something.
something monotonous is
the
same.
And also to just
beats.
get the quality right, because it's like you're not in your computer where the sounds are just right. You're gonna plug in your guitar, and so maybe your guitar's out of tune. You gotta tune it right, or maybe your bass player's not playing in rhythm and stuff. Like on a software, you can just kind of be like, oh, I played that wrong. Let me press this button. Yeah, I'm gonna press the quantize button, and it's gonna slam everything into like the correct position. So it's just a different game.
Yeah, of course. So how long have you been singing, writing music, everything like that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this man's a star. He's performed opened up for like Drake, Nicki Minaj. Who else did you just say? I know we just listed
Billy Joel,
listed a
Kid
bunch.
Rock, One Republic, Wiz Khalifa, Fall Out Boy,
That's
Backstreet
sick.
Boys.
That's sick. What was your favorite one to open up for?
Each is its own unique experience. So I don't think that it's really a favorite for me. I just really I enjoyed Kid Rock from not necessarily from like me performing perspective, but getting to watch him perform too was like the most ridiculous thing I had ever really seen, honestly. I'd never just seen someone that had that type of electricity perform.
Really?
It was like life-changing almost. Like he was an incredible performance. And I had admittedly like not really listened to Kid Rock like that. I didn't grow up on his music. I didn't really listen to much of his stuff. But seeing him live, it
Gave you a real
really,
appreciation
it was
for
like,
it.
holy crap, like this man is
Legit.
Yeah, he was crazy. He was like a whole different beast. Like the first note he sung was just like, whoa. It was great. Yeah, it was really, really dope.
That's cool.
But yeah, to answer your question, I started making music. I guess I started singing early. You know, my first like on stage performance was in the 5th grade. It's for my 5th grade DARE graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if y'all had DARE.
Yeah,
drug abuse resistance education.
I won't do drugs.
Yeah.
Or I will respect that whole shit. Yeah, I remember that.
So I was in DARE. We had a little icebreaker joint, and the DARE officer was like, "Oh, you know, asking everybody like, what they like to do," and I was like, "Oh, like I like singing." And he put me on the spot. He was like,
"Go ahead,
go sing something now." Yeah. So I sang. And then
that
he was
your
like,
moment to shine.
Yeah. He then put me on to go sing at the graduation. That was my first time performing on a stage in front of like my friends.
How did he have the pull to get you on stage for?
Cause he was the dude. Like there were 2 officers. We only had 2 officers for the whole school.
Okay.
So these were the 2 dudes, Officer Keith and Officer Ralph. They're the dudes that went into everybody. This was in middle school, bro, like 5th grade. Right? Yeah. So I was at William Henry in the Dover Capital School District. And that was like the first joint, and then after that I think that kind of gave me the confidence to be like, oh, I want to do some talent shows and stuff like that. So I kind of performed and wrote music all throughout middle school and high school and stuff. Learned how to play piano like in 8th grade. We always had a piano in my house, never touched it, and I got suspended from school. So I got suspended like that whole like 5-day out of school suspension, administrative board hearing. Like it was horrible.
What happened?
Stuff. So some stuff happened, and I got suspended, and my parents were heated. So they literally like when they took everything out the house, like all the cables, all the power plugs to everything. They took it out when they went to work. It was like, boom, you're in here alone. So I had nothing.
That's some shit my parents would do to me.
Yeah, I had nothing, and we had just had this piano that was sitting there. And growing up as a kid, like nobody ever really touched it. It was just kind of there for decoration. So I was like, all right, I don't have nothing to do. So I started playing piano. I started teaching myself how to play. And then like after I got off being grounded and stuff, I didn't want my parents to know that I was messing with the piano while they were gone. And they had like left one afternoon, and I was in the zone playing on the piano, and then I came back and they were like, oh, like when you learn how to play the piano? I was like, oh, like I've just been teaching myself.
Since I was grounded, I ain't got nothing else
exactly.
to do.
So they bought me a keyboard. They bought me this like crap keyboard too. It was a Casio WK3000. It's like a bum keyboard, bro.
That's a start though.
Yeah, it had a headphone jack. That was the key. It had a headphone jack, so you know, piano is loud and you can't play it when people trying to go to sleep, everything.
Of course.
So, and I grew up in a small house, so
that would echo.
Yeah, it'd be everywhere. So yeah, having that headphone jack changed my whole life. I was able to plug in just
zone
into
out.
the zone. Yeah. So then, my junior year of high school, I had an opportunity with Del State University. They were running a campaign that's called Count Me Out. It was very much like DARE, coincidentally enough. The Count Me Out program was about like abstinence, so it was more geared towards sex and STDs and how to protect yourself and stay away from that stuff. So I wrote this song called Count Me Out, and my choir director at the time kind of pitched the song out to them. He had some connects over there at Del State, and they really loved the song, so they actually ended up naming the campaign Count Me Out. The song I wrote was called Count Me Out. Their campaign was called something else. And they vibed with it, so then they made that the campaign and whatnot, cut me a check. And that was the first time I actually like sold a song for bread, like for money.
If you don't mind me asking, how much did you sell?
It was $10K. So yeah, right. So that's what I thought, right? That's what I thought. I was young. I was 16. I didn't know anything about like the music business, music industry, nothing. I just, was like, oh, it's not 10 G's. Sign? Where do I sign? Like, give me that. And my parents didn't have any idea either. So me and my homeboy, Miguel Batiste, we were leaving the Dover Mall. We pulled up behind his car, and it had a bumper sticker on the back of the bumper that said "Count Me Out." And he was like, "Yo, bro, they got a bumper sticker." We hype,
Yeah.
All right. Maybe about a week later, I see a bill. So I go past Silver Lake, right, to get to high school. Driving up past Silver Lake, it's a billboard. Count Me Out. It's like, oh snap, they got
Yo.
billboards, that's wild. My cousin Bruce calls me, he was like, yo, you see that your song got a billboard? And I was like, yeah, I saw it, it's over by Silver Lake. He was like, nah, this one's over out on Route 8.
So
I'm
you
like,
had 2 billboards.
right, I was like, whoa. And then that got me thinking, like, did I get paid what I was supposed to get paid?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know. So then I got really into trying to learn the business, and I was really fortunate. I got to have a meeting with songwriter Rashawn Mitchell. He's actually a very big songwriter now. He was kind of just breaking the music scene when I met with him. I met with him in Philly at a hotel, like in a lobby. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like 17 years old, and he was like, yo, I'm gonna come down. Came down, was in the lobby. I had my notebook, literally just writing everything that he was saying. He was dropping knowledge. I'm just writing it all down. Now he's a gospel writer, by the way. So
Okay.
all gospel music that he did, and he kind of put me on. That's how I learned how to get affiliated with PROs and just kind of leverage and position myself. And
What's PROs?
so PRO is a performing rights organization.
Okay.
So there are like 3 major ones. There's ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. I'm an ASCAP member. That's the American Society of Composers and Publishers. And essentially what those organizations do is they get you paid for your writing.
Okay.
So if your music is placed on television, if it's placed in an advertisement, if it's on the radio, wherever your music is licensed, essentially, they will monitor where it is. They kind of throw it into an algorithm. So like your songs have different value depending on where they are. So if your song, every place where you hear music, they're supposed to. Not everyone does, and they get sued.
Supposed to get paid for it.
Yeah, they're supposed to pay a fee to these companies that allow them to have music there. So if you walk into a Starbucks and you hear music playing over the radio, you're listening for free, but it's not free. Starbucks has paid a licensing fee to be able to play music there. If you go anywhere where they have live music, they have paid a licensing fee to be able to have that music there. Yeah. So, because otherwise, so you go out to a bar, there's like someone's covering a song, right? So they're singing somebody else's music. I'm at a bar and singing a cover of Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Well, that's not my song. I'm singing somebody else's work. So the person who wrote it needs to get paid for that. Because
So if you were performing it, would you have to pay them?
I don't. The venue does.
The venue, okay.
Yeah, the venue does. So every venue, everything, they all pay these licensing fees. And
That's
the
like a
songwriter
yearly
can-
thing?
Yep. Yeah, it's an annual fee. But yeah, I mean that's kind
It's
of how
probably
it.
expensive, no?
It depends. They kind of base it based on like how many seats you have, how often you have live music, how many people kind of occupy the space. So the fee that, let's say, I don't know, the University of Delaware pays is different than the fee that the
Great.
brouhaha
Yeah.
downstairs pays.
Nah, makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But so going back to a point you had made where you had gotten the $10,000 and you were like, I wonder if I'm getting paid what I should be getting paid.
Right.
Like explain like the business side of the music industry a lot, because I feel like people always see the glitz and the glamour of
Right.
everyone that's like, oh yeah, I'm making songs and I'm making money and blah blah blah, but it's a cutthroat industry.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's no other way to put it. It's crazy. So it's called a work for hire, essentially. If someone, like, let's say this company, in this case, it's a university. This university is paying for a service of sorts. So you have been hired. You're contracted by them. In your work for hire, when you sign off saying that you're accepting that money, you have given away all of your rights to ownership of that. Now they own it. So if you want a song, let's say for instance, you're like, Kevin, can you make me a custom piece of music for my podcast? I could be like, yeah, okay, cool. Now, if you purchase it from me, I have essentially, if it's a work for hire and you purchase it, it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it, and I can't collect any money off of it because you have purchased, it's your music. You've purchased it. If you are...
Real quick segment. At this point in your career, how much are you selling songs for? Something for something?
Well, it depends. One, it depends on who's buying it.
Okay.
So, we're in the type of business where the placement of the music, definitely dictates the price.
Okay.
And also, if someone is licensing it exclusively or non-exclusively. So, there's an exclusive license says that you have a piece of music. Let's say it's you that wants me to do this piece of music. Okay, cool. I contract this piece of music for you, and it's an exclusive license. That means that I can't use it anywhere else. So I'm going to charge you a lot more for this piece of music because I can't do anything with it after I give it to you. And that could be, I could still retain royalty rights to it if the contract is set up right. I could still retain rights to get royalties off of it. But that would then come from where you put it. So yes, it's for you and your brand, but then if it ends up on a commercial and there's ad space, the network then would pay me. So let's say you place it on NBC or something like that. Okay, well now I can grab some of that NBC money, but it doesn't have to come from you.
Okay.
A non-exclusive license means that I can give it to you, but I have the rights to do anything else that I want with it. So let's say you want to use it for the intro.
Still yours.
Exactly. So you then are just kind of licensing its use, which means I can't charge you anywhere near as much. And that's sort of the difference. So the prices range, and right now in the state of the current music industry, it's more of a volume game. It used to be
how many people are listening to it.
Yeah, or how much you're putting out. How much content are you creating, and how much are you getting it placed? The more the better. It used to kind of be more of a, hey, I wrote 100 different pieces of music and I'm hoping that one of them hits for something big. Now you don't have to play that game, and you can say, I wrote 100 pieces of music and I don't have to waste 99 of them. I'm just going to try to find as many places as I can. So instead of getting one song to land for $10,000, right? Now you can have 100 songs that you could land for $100 a piece, and you'd still get $10,000. Or more realistically, nobody's placing music for $100. That sucks. But if you're in it, if you're in it, then if you have 100 pieces of music and you're placing them all for, let's say, a G, that's $100,000. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting it placed in the right places, and it's easier now for composers or artists, whoever it is, because you can directly contact people. It used to be that a larger company, let's say you got a placement with Corona, right? They would only run one commercial or maybe two commercials for about 6 months. So that placement is huge. That's a big placement, but the competition to get it is stiff. Now with social media, Corona's Instagram page is going to post a story every single day. That's 365 opportunities for placement of music just in their story alone, and that's just one brand. That's not counting their actual posts. That's not counting, they may have a main Corona page, but I know a lot of companies now are starting to tailor their marketing to specific demographics. So they may have Corona Mexico, Corona, Barbados, Corona, so they have pages that are kind of locked into a demographic. You can kind of tie into all of those. All of those are different opportunities for you to get placements.
I've never thought about music in this.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't. And so it's a very lucrative business. There are a lot of different ways to generate an income. I think that oftentimes though people get locked into thinking that it only happens one way. I gotta
make it hit.
Yeah, I gotta make this hit, and it's you're missing all of the space that is in between. There are just a ton of opportunities, especially with social media right now, and that the technology has caught up. So companies like Facebook and Instagram, you used to be able to just post a song on your Facebook video or your Instagram video, and that was it. Like,
Yeah.
no one got any credit for it, nothing. It was, songwriters were kind of getting robbed.
I actually just had Instagram send me a message the other day about a video that I posted like 3 or 4 years ago. I had music on my one of my workout videos, and they're like,
take it down.
Yeah, this
right.
This is blocked.
Yeah,
You know,
the
can't
Millennium
have this
Music
video.
Act kind of took care of a lot of that kind of stuff, but the tech has finally caught up now, where
And that's
you
good, though,
don't
for
have to work.
artists.
It's good for everyone because you don't have to worry about your music being taken down.
Mhm.
Nobody has to be out here trying to find, oh, you use my music and I didn't want you to or whatever. Like, you don't have to worry about that anymore. It's just, Instagram even has a feature now where you can press music and then look up a song and put it in your story or put it, like, that is tied in to Spotify, to iTunes, and you can get paid. Like, the songwriters now can
Really?
get paid from those streams. Now,
Really?
those streams, you need a ton of views because the payout is crap.
Yeah, it's poop. I've seen like some.
But that's
analytics
why it's
for
about
it.
the volume. That's literally why it's about as much as you can get out.
Because you
Get it
paid,
out.
What, like a couple cents per listen, right?
Streaming rates right now, well, they're different for each platform, but streaming rates on average are somewhere between 0.012 cents and like 0.047 cents per stream. So it's pretty crappy. Like, to put that in perspective, you need 10 streams to get a penny. You need 100 streams to get a dime.
That's crazy.
You need 1,000 streams to get a dollar.
That's
You
crazy.
need 10,000 streams to get $10.
But if you have a video on YouTube, 1,000 streams will get you like.
So YouTube actually
Or no,
pays out
3
pretty well.
That's what.
Yeah.
3,000 views, I think, it equals like $1,000 or something.
It's not 3,000. It might be 300,000.
Okay.
300,000 views to get you about $3,000 sounds maybe a little more accurate.
Okay.
But what's important for composers and musicians to understand is that in that situation, you're not necessarily interested in grabbing all of the money from the stream. There's an entirely different revenue stream, which is the ad revenue stream that you want to tap into. So I could go to a YouTube page, right? Let's say it's Bleacher Report. They post YouTube videos or whatever. It doesn't even have to be that. It can be like Bob 321.
Yeah.
But he just has maybe, 10,000 subscribers and his videos get a lot of hits. You can just go to him and message him and be like, hey, like, I see that you make basketball videos and you always have the dopest music. I have a song that I think would work really well. If you want to use it, you have my permission, blah, blah, blah. So he's not paying you for that, right? But now that your music is in front of it, you can just ask for a piece of the ad revenue that's coming. So that little you can skip after 5 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever. You can then pull money in off of the ads, even though it's not your video. So it just all depends on how you negotiate your contract. And there's like an unlimited number of people out here that you can just
I'm
hit up.
assuming now that you know all this, you've definitely been through some times where you've gotten scammed or cheated.
I don't know. I don't look at it that way. Like, if you're being ignorant, you're just being ignorant. I'm not going to blame anybody for that. Like, you should just know. You should learn. And I think oftentimes people are too cautious. I think for a lot of musicians, they like think too highly of themselves almost. Like, you should value yourself, definitely. But what I understand is that
Confidence over cockiness.
well, yeah, I think oftentimes a lot of songwriters and stuff, they're like, I have this one song and it's like their gem. And they are doing everything they can to protect it. And it's just like, this one song. And it's like, I don't want it to get ripped off. It's like, look, if it leads to someone else understanding who you are, like someone more important or whatever, or people coming into your music, great. Like, you're a songwriter, right? Just write more songs. You're not only going to write, and I mean, you could, but you're probably not only going to write one good song.
Yeah.
You're going to write a ton of good songs. You're going to write a ton of music. So
if that's what your passion is.
yeah, so sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, dang, now I know. And the next time when I write another good song, this one will be in a better position, like kind of playing that game. I'm definitely more on the volume game right now. And that is also just to be congruent with the way the market is right now. That business model doesn't necessarily work 15 years ago, maybe not even 10 years ago. realistically, the technology didn't catch up to scanning all the music and stuff like that until recently, like the last 2 to 3 years. But music placement is becoming the most lucrative way to make money as an artist, as a writer, as a producer. Placing your music in a video game, placing your music in an ad, placing your music on TV, all of that they're great ways to make money, and it's also a great way to make money too because it is.
And shows, I bet too, right?
Well, shows, yeah, but shows are active income, and it's important. So if you want to generate wealth or anything, you need a source of active income, but you also need a source of passive income. You need a way to generate income while you are not physically doing something.
Of course.
So yeah, you can go out and play shows, and that's like money, cash money, right up, right? But there are other ways for you to have kind of ancillary income. Merchandise is one of them. Oftentimes I see artists, they take merchandise and make it an active income revenue source when it can be also a passive revenue stream. Because, so if it's like, yo, I'm selling shirts at my show, you have to come to my show to get the shirt. Mm-hmm. But sales aren't limited to person to person, exactly. So, like, I see a lot of artists, they don't have an online store, they don't have an online marketplace where people can kind of go and get their things. I see artists then, they're like, oh, well, I printed up 500 shirts and I've only been able to sell 30 of them or 100 of them or whatever. Now I have 400 extra shirts just kind of sitting around. I don't know how to get rid of them. It's like, well, you don't have to take on that overhead, because what you can do is just get online and then set up a pre-order. Okay, you got 30 pre-orders. You only need to print 30 shirts. Mm-hmm. And then if anybody else wants them, like maybe you want to print like a small amount, like 10 or 15 or whatever, you're in a better spot to run out of shirts at your show or whatever your merch is. Exactly. Like if you run out, you have demand and no supply, which at the very least means you can increase you can increase how much it costs at the very rate, right? And there's always that balance of where supply and demand kind of flux, where there's a premium cost. Some people are undercharging, some people are overcharging. So that's a way for you to gauge where you should be pricing yourself. Tons of different ways to generate revenue.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Need to stretch real quick. That's a lot of learning.
And so that's one of the reasons why I started the podcast, was because I wanted to do what I could to cut a lot of that learning curve.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about that for a second too, because not only does he do all of this musician stuff and being a singer and the business side of it all, he also has podcasts, releasing another podcast, right?
Yes, but we're going to keep that one on the hush.
We'll keep that on the hush, but his podcast out right now, the Mccove Mindset, right? Talks about tries to cut down the time frame for musicians and artists to learn about, to the singing, the rap game, whatever it is that you're trying to do within that industry. He's bringing on tons of different people that are also within that industry that can help you. What would you say? Like cut down on the learning curve, right?
Yeah, just
trying to figure out the best way to describe it.
Yeah, but it's practical application techniques.
Okay.
So it's really,
I like that phrase.
Information that you should be able to easily digest, that can kind of get you right to where you want to go. So one of the things that I also do is I go to schools and I talk to kids about to just cut the time that it takes to learn, but also like the BS. Some kids have no idea. They're like, oh well, I don't have recording software, I can't record myself. It's like, you don't need to have a ton of money to record yourself. There are free programs. There's Audacity. You have your phones now where you just voice note some stuff. There's GarageBand right on your phone. If you have a Mac computer, GarageBand is right there. If you have a Windows computer,
all the tips you taught me about, I'm gonna use all of them.
Yeah, it's quick. It's like easy. Like you can cut out so much of the expenses on things.
Yeah.
Just to get started.
And
some other kid and time. Some kids who were like, I don't know how to put my music out online.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like, oh well, SoundCloud is free. You know, that's why so many people use it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, SoundCloud is free. You just kind of upload. And they're like, oh well, how do I get my music on Spotify? How do I get my music on Apple Music? It's like, okay, well, you need to get to a third-party vendor. There's just like a third-party distribution company. So you can use TuneCore, you can use CD Baby, you can use DistroKid. Like, some people just don't even know that. And I know that the internet is there, but you have to know the right questions. Like, Google is an incredible resource, but you also have to ask it the right things. And if you don't know what to ask, if you don't know what you're supposed to be asking, there's no way for you to actually utilize the resource in any type of productive way. So it's also kind of putting the right questions in front of people's minds so that they know, like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. Let me try that. People think about, oh, I could put music on a YouTube video. I could put music on an Instagram post. I could put music on, like, yeah, you can. And you can get paid. And it's also like a great tool. Like if you're just going out and hoping to get shout outs, like somebody's going to credit you. Like now you're going to bring more people to your page.
It's all about the influx of people.
Pretty much.
Constant amount of people that want to listen to you.
Yeah, and there's so many different business models even. You know, some people are like, well, I don't want to be on Spotify or iTunes because they don't pay anything and my music should be worth more. It's like, if that's how you feel, that's totally... Spotify and iTunes and stuff, it's a resource. It's not a necessity. If you want to sell your music from your website alone, you can do that. You want to charge $100 for a song, you can do that. You know, I don't know who's going to buy it, but if you have the right fans, they will. Like, you can do subscription-based models, too. Everything is kind of on a subscription program.
Nowadays.
If you have, let's call it a small fan base. So you have 50 people who really vibe with you and would purchase a subscription from you. You could do a one-time fee even, like just access, one-time fee of $100, you'll get everything that I ever write. So then you're kind of inviting people into your creative process. Like, look, I wrote 30 songs this month. I'm only
Tidal did that for a little bit, didn't they?
I'm not sure, but if they did, it wouldn't surprise me because there's just so many different business models that you can apply.
Because I know at the time when Tidal was coming out, I was in New York and there were some other investors telling me about some other platforms that were similar to it, and that, like, they would charge a subscription fee for yearly, and then it would get them access to certain concerts and VIP events and certain merchandise.
Yeah, and you can do that yourself. As an artist, like if you got these 50 people in there in your elite club or whatever because they've spent the $100 to join, one, you got $5,000
right
off the grip, right? Like, so you just got an influx of $5,000, and then you can afford to do some things to show your appreciation to them. Like, all right, you want to drive sales for your merch? You take those 50 people and you give them an exclusive merchandise only created for them. And then you create like a different version of that you put up kind of online, but you post their pictures or whatever it is on your online store or on your page or whatever, so that people can kind of ask like, oh, yo, I see all of this, but how did they get that shirt? And it's like, oh, that's because they're an exclusive member or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yo, well, how do I become an exclusive member? And then maybe you invite, you grab somebody else into that. For context, I am a rather large Music Soul Child fan. And this is, like, I was a fan of him since, like, 2001, right? So, like, when you're still buying CDs. As a whole, I've probably only spent, like, $60 on this person for the entire lifetime that I've been listening to his music.
Okay.
$60.
Yeah.
That's it. That's like 4 albums. I bought them, and that's it. I saw him live, but I didn't buy the tickets. Somebody else bought it. Like, that's all. And I've been listening to him for like 16 years. You have an opportunity to grab more than that, right? Even if you put your subscription in at $50, and it was a one-time fee, you've grabbed more money than most people have spent on a particular artist for the whole time they've been listening to them for years, and you've gotten that instantly. Like, there are just different ways. It's like, what's the objective when you're trying to make money? Like, for me, and even in my podcast, it is for a specific audience. It is for the person who wants to be a full-time entrepreneur in the arts. Like, this is the only thing that you're going to do, and you want to figure out how to provide a living for yourself, and a sustainable one. And that's really what I kind of specialize in is, hey, look, you want a career in music? This is how you can do this full time. What was going to be your profession if you did not do this? I was going to be an accountant. I was going to be a teacher. Like, all right, great. So you were going to be happy making $40,000 a year, working 40 hours a week, maybe more.
Some benefits.
Right? So in your mind, $40,000 should probably be your number. But for musicians, oftentimes they're like, I'm going to be a millionaire. It's like, yeah, you realize if you became a doctor, you wouldn't be a millionaire? If you became a lawyer, you wouldn't be a millionaire? Why is that your aspiration? Like, what is the number that you need to be happy? Because you're gonna do something that's fulfilling you anyway. So what's that number that you need to just secure your monetary needs?
To then move from there.
Exactly. Well, as an entrepreneur, when you crack the code to figure out how to make $40,000, you can figure out how to make 45. You can figure out how to make 55. You can figure out how to make 75. Like, you can scale after that. But it's just a matter of obtaining your baseline and figuring out what that baseline is. And that baseline should not be $3 million. Because it wouldn't be if you did anything else. So it's like, okay, your goal can be $3 million, understandable. But what's the baseline first? Meet the baseline. And then you can work your way into more. So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Thanks, bro.
Do you see a lot of similarities between like the music and the podcast industry, since we're talking about both?
No, I think that I do not know enough about the podcast industry to speak on it with any type of like prowess. You know, I just don't know enough about it. I'm just getting into it. I know that it's growing massively. Everybody's kind of jumping into it, so there's a lot of land grab to be had. And people in general, because of the saturation, like the oversaturation of music and the accessibility of it, I think people are listening to music less.
You think so?
Yeah, they're listening to, like, talk radio. People are turning on the radio to listen to talk radio. They're listening to people think, and I believe, so this is just my personal opinion, right? Like, just for clarity.
Well, I mean, you're in the realm, so
yeah,
you have to.
And for personal opinion, I think that because of tech right now, we have a lot less human interaction.
Of course.
And hearing someone's voice makes you feel like you're there. Makes you feel like you are having that type of human interaction, though you're not. Because I see less people on the phone exchanging their voices with each other and more people texting. I see more people on Instagram. Like, so there's less of this human element, and there's still a desire for it. And I think that audio helps to kind of bridge that gap for a lot of people. And also because of the volume of music that is being put out right now, a lot of it sounds the same. And so it's inundated. So it's like, okay, I don't want to listen to the same thing over. And our
I have heard that voice is like the next wave of things. That's why Siri, Alexa, all those things are becoming huge things. Now you could just have the thing in your house and, yo, Alexa, give me the daily news briefing. Alexa, tell me, Alexa, add this to my shopping list.
It's to make your life easier, right? Yeah. And so, like, that's kind of what podcasting does too.
But again, that's another thing you're talking about, like having something or someone to talk to rather than an actual human interaction.
Yeah. And it's like you're hearing it. So, for people who are going to listen to this podcast, like, yeah, they're not sitting here with us in this room, but listening to it can make you feel like it. It's also something that you can do passively. You can listen to this podcast while you're in the car driving, while you're doing the laundry, while you're walking, while you're in the gym. You know, so it doesn't take sitting down and watching something, which kind of isolates all your attention in kind of one place. This is something that you can do passively. Yeah. And I think that kind of gives it an added value, especially with everyone trying to do more things at one time. Like, it's efficiency. And in terms of moving towards being efficient, I think listening to audio where you can also educate yourself at the same time, it's a huge market. It's a big market for it.
That's dope. So you think that's going to be bigger than music?
No.
So you said it was like getting to that point, no? Or
I think
people are listening to audio more than music?
I don't know if they're listening to audio, so I guess I should correct myself. It's not that I think that they're listening to it more than music. I just think that they're listening to less music.
Okay.
And listening to more audio, like more podcasts, more audio books, more, like, the audio book industry is booming.
Crazy.
No, like, that's how I consume all my books. I read voraciously, and it's not because I'm doing it physically, because that takes so much time, but I'm in the car frequently. And so while I'm in the car, why not educate myself?
Exactly.
So I'd prefer to do that than listen to music, unless I'm in a vibe. But I think that music is this great thing, not only because it is sort of this complementary service or good, where it makes everything better, like it enhances things. Like, you put music in the back of a TV show, it's better. You put music on a movie,
it's somewhat
better.
meditative, though.
Yeah, well, scientifically, yes, because what it does is it aligns brainwaves. On a scientific level,
I didn't know that.
Music aligns your brainwaves. So you have like alpha waves, beta waves, theta waves for the frequency of your mind. And depending on the types of things that you're thinking about or what you're focused on or concentrated on, your brainwaves are different. Music aligns brainwaves, which is why there can be 1,000 different people in a crowd from completely different backgrounds, completely different types of people, men, women, it doesn't matter. When the beat hits, everyone in succinct is like bobbing the same way. It's like, because that rhythm, your body, sorry, we're definitely jumping into like some shit, but your body operates on a rhythm. You know, like your pulse beats at a rhythm. Everything in your body kind of operates at this rhythmic pace. And music aligns that. It has a rhythm, and then you sync. Like, if you're walking through so there's a lot of science even in music placement, which is important for you to know if you're a producer, composer, whatever like that, understanding BPMs and where those BPMs go. Grocery stores have a particular, so the playlist is not random. It's aligned to a particular rhythm so that way you walk through the store at a certain pace. Because when you have music on, whether you're running or walking or whatever, you will run or walk at the beat. Exactly. So if I want you to spend more time walking through the aisles, I need to make sure that I'm not playing something that's at 160 BPM. I might want it to be 105, so you take your time.
That's why grocery stores play elevator music.
Exactly. Yeah, like, so there is a science behind it, for sure. But on a fundamental level, yeah, it aligns brain waves, and that's a reason why, like, it's not going to go anywhere. You know, it's tribal almost. Yeah, like it's something that's so deeply rooted within
our society.
Yeah, within the species even.
Yeah.
No, like,
because music's been around forever.
Yeah, it aligns people.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it helps you. It is transcendent. It takes you somewhere else. It allows you an escape. So there are a lot of different forms of escapism, and music is kind of this ultimate form of escapism. Because oftentimes it can do things that words can't. Like, there's a song and you can put words to it, but it's amplified when the music, the instrumentation matches. Because it can just do things, it can add to the value of like a word. Or you can take the words completely out and still be moved by the music. It's a brainwave thing.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's another new thing that I've learned today. Been dropping some knowledge on this.
Yo, it is what it is.
But so, since we had been talking for a little bit now, let's start to wrap it up a little bit. Tell me, where are you trying to go with the things that you're doing right now? Like, I know we talked yesterday and you said you're taking a break from doing shows and stuff, right?
Yep.
So are you still gonna be making music?
Yeah, I'm still writing. Like, I'm in the process of writing an album right now. It's just a matter of everything kind of like has a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was in a place where I was no longer in love with the music. I was just going through a lot personally in my own personal life, and I needed to focus my attention on that, which took me away from
That
writing
realm.
and like music and even just like the love for it. I just didn't have the energy. It isn't this. It's freeing to create music, but it also is. It's a
burden
lot of
sometimes.
It's a lot of your energy. It's a lot of your emotions. It's a lot that goes into it. And everybody has a tank. Everybody has a tank of energy.
Of course, for everything.
Yeah, music requires a certain level of energy from me in particular. Like, I'm sure it's different for everyone. But it required a certain level, and I just didn't have that. And instead of writing crap music or not being passionate about what I was doing.
You're waiting till you have some inspiration.
Exactly. Yeah, so I just needed some time away.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Everyone needs time away from, like, I know in entrepreneurship as well too, I fucking need a break sometimes. Sometimes I just feel like a complete mental overload with all the things I'm trying to do and people I gotta talk to and different invoices and economic stuff.
Yeah. Well, also, taking a break, to me, has been good because it allowed me to explore some other things. So it allowed me to, instead of continuing to go vertical, to go horizontal. The podcast wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunities coming from the podcast wouldn't be happening.
And so you're going to continue with this podcast too, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it plays to me.
Because now you got this deal, right? We didn't talk about that. So with your podcast, you just got a deal with
WJBR
producing company, right?
Yeah, so WJBR is
and radio.
Local radio. They're run by what is the company? Starts with the B. Beasley Media Group.
Mm-hmm.
So Beasley Media Group is the company that owns WJBR. So yes, essentially kind of partnered with Beasley Media Group to distribute the podcast. That wouldn't have happened if I was still making music. I wouldn't have thought about it that way. And ultimately, it still helps me to do what I'm truly passionate about, which is like helping kids and other musicians and entrepreneurs figure out how to do this, like how to make a living doing something that they love and are passionate about, and even put themselves in a position where they can employ people around them. I just think that people are so much better resources to themselves and their society when they're entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're an entrepreneur and you can provide a living for yourself and you can hire one other person and create a way for them to
make a
living for themselves and provide for their families, you've done an incredible thing.
You're winning.
Yeah, because otherwise you just go somewhere and you'd work. And you could provide for yourself and your family, and that's a beautiful thing also, but you can't then extend that to someone else.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, you kind of put yourself in a position to extend that help to so many other people. Like, I look at people like, they're not musicians, but someone like a Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates or whoever, even down to like the local coffee shop owner, honestly, but they're employing so many other people. They're giving so many other people ways to provide for themselves and for their families. Like, people need jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You could be a person who is giving that to someone else. And I think that unfortunately in our school systems and stuff, that's not really taught. Like, they kind of teach you how to be an employee, but they don't teach you how to be an employer.
I mean, school's been the same way since the Industrial Revolution. That's
Right.
probably
Yeah.
that's why.
So it's a hustle. The education system is a little bit of a hustle.
Yeah, it is.
But it's an important goal of mine to try to change that.
And
change
it goes
the
to show
conversation
just like
around.
the statistics. Like we're like not even the top 20 for any type of educational aspect in America compared to nations around the world. Like
because they have things to develop.
yeah, and they're progressive.
They're trying to develop different things. Right now, we develop a lot of things. Don't get me wrong, America's awesome.
Of course.
And I'm proud to be here. But
we're lacking in a lot of areas.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of
away from what we're talking
right.
about.
Yeah, it's a little suppressed. Point being, I can use this podcast to help educate and provide people with that information so that they can do something for their lives. The same thing with like my school initiative, getting in front of those kids and letting them know what resources that they have so that they can do the same things for themselves.
And I'm sure they appreciate that.
I hope so. I hope so.
Because you've done a bunch of schools in Wilmington.
I've done like schools in each county.
Okay.
So Newcastle County, Kent County, and Sussex County. And I do a fundraiser for them too. So I go in, I present, educate the kids, then come back, throw a concert for them. We take all of we charge them like $3 to come to the concert. It's during the school, so
That's cool.
yeah, it's during the school day. They're able to come in, spend their $3 or whatever, then we donate that money right back to the school. So the service is like kind of an in-house fundraiser for them.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Do you know how much you've been able to like raise for some of the schools?
I know that we generally raise about $1,000
That's awesome.
minimum per school.
And then what would they do with that money? Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
To be honest, I really don't. I know that for 1 year in Dover, they did kind of like a women's empowerment kind of event where they had like all the girls come in and with their parents and did some of that for them. I know like at Woodbridge, they use it to like try to improve their music department. Like some of the band members, like they didn't have enough instruments for like the kids or whatever, so they were able to use that money to get more instruments for their band.
Mm-hmm.
To me, at this stage, I'm less hands-on with the let me figure out what you're going to do with your money kind of thing. It's kind of like, look, it's here for you. I trust that you're going to do the right things with it.
Yeah.
I'm just on like my own mission right now. For right now. If
For
it
sure.
becomes, hopefully it will continue to grow, and then we can really kind of manage the resources. What I would love to do is to have a reporting technology course kind of implemented in the schools.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, so kids just don't want to be in band and choir learning music from 500 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it has no application to them. It's like, no, the kids are asking me, like, how do I produce music and get it on SoundCloud? It's like, so they should have, like, computers
course
with
for
drum
that.
machines and something. Like, yeah, exactly. So they can figure out how to use Logic and Pro Tools and figure out how to upload their music.
Yeah, that'd be fucking sick.
That's what they need. So,
Because that's the actual shit that's happening right now.
yeah, right, exactly.
That would cut down on so much time. And what the fuck is school for? To learn.
Exactly.
So might as well learn something that's actually applicable.
Right. So hopefully, things continue to progress and we can kind of make that shift.
That'd be dope, yo.
Yeah.
I really want to see that.
Me too.
Come out with your own course.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to charge for it. That's the thing. I just want to change legislation and make sure that it's provided to our kids.
Or you could sell it to the schools.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a place where worrying about making money off of something like that is just not a priority to me.
Well, then just worry about the impact that you're having with
Exactly.
it.
That's really what it is.
And of course, the money is going to follow.
Right. Exactly. You worry about the money later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll come.
But make the course.
Right. But make the course. Right. Exactly.
That's what I was getting to.
Word.
But yo, I appreciate you coming.
Yo, thanks for having me on. I appreciate this.